Pitcher Nail Down. I'm Jason Gilbo, JGilbo11. With me is Russell Clay at Russell J. Clay. Taking a look at pitching on FanDuel and DraftKings for today's 12-game slates. And you and I were a little disagreement. I like the pitching a lot on this slate. You're kind of like, it's good,
not
but
bad. It's not bad. Yeah, no. I mean, maybe I was being a little hyperbolic here, but it's good. But I would have liked some of the better pitchers to be in better matchups, but I can't complain compared to what we went through sort of within the last few weeks. So
players can't be choosers.
I'm not complaining. I just have high standards, Jason, for your future.
Jumping right into things here, you got the Red Sox and Orioles. Eduardo Rodriguez making his 2016 debut, and he's cheap, but I think he's a guy who as good as he is, I kind of just need to wait and see how healthy he is. Going up against the Baltimore offense that's been pretty average against lefties, but I think it's a high risk GPP option. I'm not really behind it a whole lot.
Yeah, 20 lineups, I'll make one with him probably, but not getting a ton of exposure to him. I think that's an intriguing option though, especially considering a lot of people are going to be on the more expensive matchups. Gausman, sorry, pal, not today. He has been pitching well, but not against the Red Sox.
It's too tough. Yeah, you can't really get behind that. And I mean, even though his price tag on DraftKings, it actually reflects that he's playing the Sox. It's tough to pick on him, especially in that ballpark.
Yeah, and he's just been a little home run prone this year, which is really not good against this Red Sox team.
Yeah, definitely. Over under 9 is kind of just an easy fade.
Yeah.
Next one, we got Nationals and Phillies. Joe Ross versus Aaron Nola. Over under 7. Washington, just small favorites, -109. This is kind of one of the better pitching option games as far as both sides go.
Mm-hmm.
Vegas has this one as a pick 'em. I like Aaron Nola. I like Joe Ross as well. I mean, both are in favorable spots as far as matchups go. I mean, you look at this Nationals team; they're not great. They're in the bottom 10 in WOBA, decent strikeout rate, and obviously the Phillies are in the bottom 3.
Mm-hmm.
Price considered, I think Joe Ross makes for an interesting SP2. 8,500 is not a bad price tag for him, and I think you can kind of lean that way.
Now, I just wish we could split the difference here and have Aaron Nola pitch against his own team, and then I'd be totally in. But with this considered, I mean, it's all right. I guess the only concern for me is Murphy Harper in the middle there, and Murphy pretty cheap considering his lefty-righty. I think I like that matchup quite a bit for him. But yeah, other than that, I think Nola should dominate, but I am a little worried about the heart of that order.
Well, all right. So with Bryce Harper, I mean, he left the game last night. If he sits out, it's just a knee contusion. I mean, does that bump up your Nola shares?
Absolutely. Yeah. If he's like officially out of the lineup, then yeah, that'll bump him up for me. But Murphy, man, he mashes the ball against righties. So
he is crushing. But Nola's been filthy. I mean, near a 27% strikeout rate this year, under 3 ERA. His ground ball rate over 50%. So I mean, you get everything he has. You just like it a lot. And cash game guy, I don't think it's so much. I just think you prefer some other guys in better win spots who do have the strikeout upside as well, because he is priced fairly highly. But I can't knock him at a tournament play, especially on FanDuel where he's just 8,900.
Definitely. But yeah, back to Ross for a second. Yeah, this is a good matchup for him. I think he has a decent shot to sort of get some strikeouts, and I don't know about getting the win, but I think this game will be pretty close. So he might even have a shot at a win here, and striking out Ryan Howard 3 times. So that's always fun.
Yeah, I like Ross a lot. I mean, you just look at that game, and it's far one of the lower scoring ones that you can kind of project pretty easily on the night.
Mm-hmm.
Next one here, you got Yankees and Blue Jays. CC Sabathia, J.A. Happ, 2 lefties that have pitched fairly well this season, kind of surprising. But over under of 9, you're looking at Toronto -149 favorites. I'm kind of fading both these lefties.
Yeah, well, my dog's knocking over pictures in the background there. I don't think I can really touch either of these guys, honestly. Uh, I mean, I guess I like Happen the lefty on lefty versus basically that whole lineup, but Sabathia, I don't trust anyone against this Blue Jays lineup this year. As of now, I think Donaldson's starting to heat up a little bit. So I'm going to avoid that for now. But Hap, I mean, he's definitely a tournament play for me. I think you just like the lefty on lefty there, but other than that, probably not getting too much exposure to this game.
Yeah. I mean, 7,400 not a bad cheap price tag, especially if you look at it. I mean, he's around guys like Leake, Whistler, John Gray, Duffy. I mean, Gray arguably the better of those four options as far as talent wise. Um, yeah, I'm kind of with you. I mean, you look at this Yankees team. I mean, they're not great against lefties. 24th in WOBA, 20% strikeout rate. So
Right.
I can definitely kind of see Hap as an SP2, especially if you need to kind of stack some other teams there.
Definitely.
So next one here, you have the Pirates and Marlins. Garrett Cole versus Jose Fernandez. Miami -132 favorites, over under 7. Obviously, a Pirates matchup is not the most ideal, but we have seen them give up a pretty good strikeout upside at times to high strikeout opponents or to pitchers, and that's just what Fernandez is. I mean, a whopping 15% swinging strike rate this year, 37% K rate. Those numbers are unreal, and Fernandez is certainly in play. I'm limiting it to just GPPs because I can get Arrieta at 600 more, or go down the mats for kind of a win. So I think he's kind of smushed in between two guys for me, where it puts him as far as just a GPP option.
Right. Love Mats at his price. Love Arrieta because it's Arrieta. This isn't perfect. So I think we got to be picky here and limit our exposure a little bit to Fernandez tonight. Not that he's not a good pitcher or it's a decent matchup, but I just think those two are much better options, especially for cash. And then I think the first few tournament lineups you build as well should be kind of based around those guys instead of Fernandez, just from a value perspective. So in that sense, I mean, this Pirates lineup always kind of scares me. So we'll see. I'm okay with him in tournaments, obviously, but yeah, I'd limit exposure a little bit.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it's hard to argue what he's done of late. I mean, he's won his last 4. He's finally working deeper into games, going 6 or plus in the last 4 games. I mean, double-digit strikeouts in 3 of the last 4. As far as upside goes, he could very well finish as the top-scoring pitcher on the slate just because he has that potential. But also, I mean, you look at his recent stretch: Tampa, Washington twice, and Milwaukee. Those are 4 bad teams, and they do strike out quite a bit. This is a Pirates team that doesn't strike out. And so you maybe see a little tick backwards, but I don't think it's going to be anything awful.
Yeah, no, he's still going to have a good start here, but I won't say there's a blow up factor, but it's a tough group to get through, without getting beat up a little bit here and there.
I get what you're saying. I think if he gets like 18 points, like if he goes like he did against that's not a good start for a guy who's 12-4, who's 11-1 on. Like that's not it's not a blow up, but it's not a good number from a guy at that price.
Right. Or if he gives up a few runs or something like that, even if he does get a few strikeouts, you're looking at 20 to 25 instead of his like what he's been doing, which is tremendous, which is over 30. So I think that's kind of what I'm looking at there. Obviously the upside's still there.
Yeah, definitely. As far as Garrett Cole goes on the other side, his price is a little too higher than I want. I mean, he's only really shown the high ceiling twice this season against the Padres and Cubs. This Miami team, I mean, they've been kind of trending back downwards. They're obviously missing Stanton. Yelich seems a little bit banged up. He hasn't been hitting the ball.
Dietrich almost went to the hospital the other day. He did. Last time I checked, there was an ambulance and like doctors headed to the dugout after he got hit by a pitch or something, or a line drive.
Yeah, so I mean, they're a little banged up. I mean, if that lineup shakes out where it doesn't look too good, I mean, Cole's a playable option in tournaments. I mean, kind of as a pivot. I mean, 9,600 isn't a bad price tag, but I need that upside, and that's something Cole hasn't quite had in comparison to the other top names there.
Right, definitely. Yeah, I mean, like you mentioned, Marlins kind of coming down to earth here from some of the streaks that some of their top hitters were going on earlier in the year. So might be an offense to target right now, honestly.
Yeah, I think so too. Next one here, you got Giants and Braves. Jake Peavy versus Matt Whistler. Over under of 8. San Francisco minus 135. I know it's the Braves, but I think I'm just kind of staying away from Peavy, and I'm obviously not picking on the Giants' offense with Whistler. So
Yeah.
this is a game
Yeah.
where I think there's some actual value bats, and you can kind of fit some in.
Bummer for Whistler because he was kind of fun for a little while there and in quite a few starts. But yeah, I think you're obviously avoiding him today against a team that literally doesn't strike out. And then Peavy, man, sorry, bro, can't do it this time.
No, as cheap as he is, I mean, he's coming off a good start against the Padres, but they strike out quite a bit. This Atlanta team doesn't really, and I just think overall, as bad as Atlanta is, I still can't see Peavy kind of working magic and getting through this lineup 2 times.
I think you could throw one tournament lineup in with him because obviously it's the Braves and any sort of since 2014 they're gonna look really, 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 really bad. But I think it may be a few tournaments with him, but nothing more than that.
Next game here, you got White Sox and the Mets, and it's Matt Latos who's coming back down to earth again for Steven Matz. Mets minus 168 favorites, over under a 7.5. Matz is one of my favorite pitchers on the slate, if not my favorite, number one. I mean, he's been absolutely unreal. I mean, everything you like out of him. A strikeout rate over 25%, ground ball rate over 50. Not a big walk guy, 4.6%. So you got to like that. He's allowing just a 23% hard ball rate. And you look at this White Sox offense, it's not – yes, there's some name appeal there with guys like Frazier, Abreu, Melky, Eaton. But overall, I mean, it's not like they've been absolutely crushing. So
they've been shut down by the stronger pitchers this year pretty much every time. So I think we're definitely looking at Matz as a cash game arm. And, I mean, obviously you don't like him over Arrieta from a pure points perspective, but from a value perspective, I actually think it's pretty close.
Yeah, I think so too. Obviously talent-wise, but when you throw in, an $11 discount, $1,000 discount, I mean, you're talking another upgrade at bats. It's nearly 2,000 on DraftKings. So overall, I mean, I think he's very playable.
Definitely. Yeah, and I mean, Vegas likes him, decent price, solid lineup to go against. I just think this is good for him. So I'm in. Let's do it.
Oh yeah, I'm all in on the Mets train. As far as Latos goes, he's not an option for me. I know this Mets team's banged up and hasn't been very good, but overall, Latos struggling back to his usual ways, and I think you can get some cheap Mets bats here.
Definitely. Yeah. I think that's just kind of an avoid for now.
Next one here, you got Dodgers and Cubs. Scott Kazmir versus Jake Arrieta. No total out yet just because of probably the wind. But Cubs are minus 2.
Oh, no. That's the Dodgers total.
What? 0?
That's correct. You're reading that correct.
0. There's 0 total.
Even though it's not, I mean, there's a pretty decent chance it is tonight. Arrieta is just a dominant pitcher. So clear number one option, cash arm, team with Mats on DraftKings and figure it out at the positional spots. That's kind of what I'm going to be doing, I think.
Yeah, Cubs are big favorites, 220 there. Arrieta has been his dominant self. I mean, he's coming off a rougher start, but overall, I mean, strikeout rate 25.7, ground ball rate 56.3. The guy works deep into games. You're not afraid of the matchup. The Dodgers, yes, I mean, they've had some kind of name appeal in the past, but overall, I mean, 23rd in WOBA this year against right-handers. And kind of a league average strikeout rate. So it's hard to fade Arrieta even against this Dodgers team.
Yeah, I'm not worried about the Dodgers. This is just, let's do it. Don't worry about it. Don't think about it. If it doesn't work out, don't blame us, but it should work out. 80% of the time, it's going to work every time. You know what I'm saying?
That just doesn't make sense. As far as Kazmir goes on the other side, it's a tough pick on this Cubs team. Kazmir's price is a little higher than I would want it on FanDuel. DraftKings 7,800, I guess you can make an argument as far as a GPP goes, because I mean he does have some strikeout upside. We've seen it a couple of times this season. This Cubs team, pretty good against lefties though, because I'm kind of and they've cut that strikeout rate down quite a bit from last year, so it doesn't draw a lot of appeal for me.
Definitely, yeah. Again, solid arm, but not the matchup you're looking for, and there's no reason to force it. Now, if it was a 5-game slate or something like that, yeah, you force it, but no need to force it tonight.
Yeah. 8-10 here, Cardinals and Brewers. Mike Leake versus Willie Peralta. St. Louis minus 150 favorites, over under of 9. Obviously, we're not looking at Willie Peralta. Does Mike Leake catch any interest for you? I mean, cheap, but Miller Park, I mean, I know it's a team that could be without Ryan Braun again. I don't see a lot of upside with him, even in a good matchup against Milwaukee.
He's close. I think he's tournament worthy. I think there's some decent value for his price, but this Brewers lineup seems to get you in one way or another against mediocre pitching. Against elite arms, they get pretty much smoked. But in these types of games, yeah, I get a little worried about the Brewers. And so league tournaments, I think, is a fair option, especially if you're looking to pay down. But other than that, probably an avoid.
He's pitched relatively well of late. I mean, I'll give him that. He's pitched deep into games, so I mean, if he does get you right around 18 to 20 points, I think that's kind of a reasonable outcome for him tonight. I don't hate that. It is asking a lot. I also could see it going completely in the other direction just because he doesn't have swing and miss stuff. So there is a lower floor than desired there.
Definitely. Yeah. I mean, deep tournament play, but other than that, I think I'm avoiding.
Yeah. Next one here, you got Rays and Royals. Drew Smyly versus Dylan G. Over under of 8, Tampa minus 122 favorites. This one kind of seems just like a stay away game altogether for me. I mean, Smiley's been good, but I don't like the matchup there. I don't like the price tag for Smiley, so I'm kind of just staying away from this game. I mean, hitters and pitchers wise.
Yuck. I don't. Again, I think I've learned the lesson to not go at the Royals, really. The upside's just kind of capped a little bit and then not really in on G against the Rays. So, yeah, I think that's an avoid as well.
Yeah, me too. Look at the next game here, Reds and Rockies. John Moscov versus Jonathan Gray. Wait 1 minute, man. I might make a case for John Gray in tournaments. Oh,
no.
I know this Reds team is there. You have some pop. I know it's cores, but
oh no.
Let's wait a minute. So Colorado minus 179.
Folks, he's going down that road.
Over under of 11.
He's going for it.
Can he nail the delivery?
All right, what do you got?
Jonathan Gray is a good arm. I mean,
yes, he is.
27% strikeout rate this year, coming off a game where he dominated the Sox. I mean, outside of Ortiz, he dominated them. And yes, I mean, his ERA is over 5 because he's had a couple outings at home where he's been blown up, and obviously that Cardinals start. But there is a relatively high strikeout rate here. You look at this Reds offense, 27th in WOBA against righties, a 23% strikeout rate. I mean, last time Gray was at home, he figured it out against a Mets team that does have some pop and some good bats 1 through 5 and struck out 8 and went 7. So it is a high risk, high reward, but 7,400, I mean, he arguably has a higher ceiling than Happ does at the same price. I mean, you're not really taking Whistler or Duffy or, guys around him. So I think in that consideration, as far as guys in that price tag, he's worth a look for me.
So in a tournament, would you rather go Gray over Mike Leake?
If I'm being super contrarian, probably, yeah. I think so. I think there's relatively more upside. In 6,800 on FanDuel, I mean, if he comes away with a win and goes 6 strong innings, maybe gives up 2 earned, but gets 7 strikeouts, I mean, that's a good start for a guy in cores. And you're obviously going to load some bats behind him because the price tag allows you to.
True.
I could see it happening today. I'm not really picking on Gray with a lot of Reds, so why not fire away with him as a single bullet guy?
Yeah, that's fair. I'm not against it now. Okay. Again, I think people are going to be afraid of this Reds lineup after what they saw yesterday. They might think it's that Indians series all over again. But Gray is a solid arm. Everything's inflated because of where he plays and sort of how it works, home road and all that. And obviously playing the Red Sox last time out. But no, he's a fair tournament arm. I'll give you that.
And if he blows up, I'll come on tomorrow and just be like, well,
you guys should have known that. Like, it was Coors.
I am announcing he has a horrible floor because it is solely Coors. So, but you know what? There is a reasonable upside.
And again, if you want to win a GPP, you have to do some weird stuff. So I think that's the good kind of weird right there, where it's not your guy's not playing and you threw him in your lineup. This is a good weird, not a bad weird.
Yeah. Next one. We don't need to announce that John Moscott's a bad play tonight.
John Moscott is not a good play when you're projected for 6.5 runs against you. Yeah. It's not a good play usually.
And he could be up 11-0 into the 5th inning, and then that bullpen would blow that lead.
Yes, they would. They absolutely would.
Tigers and Angels here. Anibal Sanchez, Hector Santiago, 8.5 over under. LA -114 favorites, and this is kind of a game where, even though it's a good ballpark, once again, I don't see any reasonable way to use either of these options.
Yeah, I just don't see the need, honestly. I just don't see the need. I honestly have kind of glossed over that game, and from a pitcher perspective, I'm kind of looking at that more from, all right, who do I want for one-offs in this game in terms of hitters? So that's kind of how I'm looking at that game. They're not bad options, but I just don't see the ceiling, and I think there's some blow-up potential there as well.
Yeah, I mean, you look at these two late games. I mean, usually we see 7.5 over-unders and lower, and 8.5 for both those late games. I mean, that's kind of usually, I mean, two good ballparks, and we'll kind of move on to the Twins and Athletics, Tyler Duffy, Eric Surkamp. Once again, it's just kind of a stay-away option. It makes it kind of easy, and maybe you can get some contrarian one-off options as far as hitters go in these two games.
I think that's the move. Maybe get one or two of the cheaper options or something like that. I mean, if Vogt's in the lineup again against Duffy at 3K on DraftKings, I think that's always in play. But yeah, I'm not really looking at either of these pitchers. I think there's just so many other solid options that there's no need to sort of go that direction.
Yeah, I agree with you. That's going to wrap things up here on the Pitcher Nail Down. Be sure to check out dailyfantasycafe.com for all our great tools and content.